Hey everyone. I know how bad I am with uploading, but I have a feeling I'll start uploading more. And yes, I know I have said that so many times. But trust me, I will at least upload more than once a year, like I did in 2023. I am so sorry I keep disappearing, but I've gotten so much busier as the years go on, and obviously stressed out with other things. But I really miss making videos for you guys and interacting with you. Let's not talk about this any longer. Obviously, you want to see the video. I'm here to show you what I think are the top 10 Zelda dungeons. Yes, in the whole series. Let's get to it. Forest Temple, Twilight Princess. A lot of you know that I love Twilight Princess, so it's very shocking that a dungeon from this game is ranked the lowest. When I was younger and I played this game for the first time, I found this dungeon very difficult and confusing, but I loved seeing the monkeys and all the silly things that they would do. Now that I'm older, I'd say it's a good introduction to how the dungeons in this game will be. Lots of puzzles, great design, awesome music, very unique boss designs, and of course, in great Zelda fashion, long. Even though this is one of the shortest dungeons in this game, if you're going into it with no information on how it will be and no help from anyone, it could be very confusing on where certain things are and the quickest way to traverse the map. Especially if you're trying to get all the chests in this dungeon and 100% it could take a bit. Which is why I'm glad that they have the compass in this game to see where all the chests are and other things. The item you get from this dungeon, the Gale Boomerang, it's very unique. I like how when you first retrieve it, it speaks to you. It's alive. She, the boomerang, calls herself the Fairy of Winds, meaning that you are carrying a fairy around with you at all times. This is a live being that could possibly have like a background and a story to it. I wish they had included some more background information on this boomerang, because what if there's more of these fairies? Is there a whole village of them somewhere in this game? As a semi-theory YouTuber, of course I'm going to think these questions, when a lot of other people would just move on and forget about it. Again, this is an awesome dungeon to start with, and I'm starting to second guess if this should be in the number 10 spot. Number 9, Forsaken Dungeon, Wind Waker. Again, as a child, I found this very difficult and confusing, also very scary. Going through this dungeon again, now that I'm older, I enjoy it a lot. I really like the design, and I love how dark it is, and, having to constantly be aware of your surroundings so you don't get caught and thrown into jail is a challenge, but you get the hang of it very quickly. The design of the pig guards are interesting.
Oh my god, they're like, look at that ass, bro. Sorry, I didn't say that. Do not clip that.
I don't know. Interesting choice of design. I really like the watchtowers and how you have to use the random sticks around this dungeon because you lost your sword when you got launched into this thing. Obviously, you come back here a second time, but I'm choosing to focus on the first experience of being here. I really love this introduction to Ganon. Especially it being in the first dungeon and, it's like the big boss at the end instead of having to wait until later in the game. You're seeing him, like, firsthand, like, right off the bat in this game. It also builds a really emotional relationship, knowing that he is behind the kidnapping of your sister. It just makes it, like, so much more of an emotional connection. Sadly, you aren't able to save your sister this time and get thrown into the ocean at terrifying speeds. Kinda brutal, Nintendo. Awesome bird design, though. Number 8, Ancient Cistern, Skyward Sword. This dungeon is scary. In one of my past videos, Top 5 Scariest Things in Legend of Zelda, I mentioned this dungeon. I really love the atmosphere of this dungeon and being underground. Obviously, the darkness isn't the first thing you see. Walking into this dungeon, you get to see this beautiful layout of rivers flowing and gorgeous scenery, which makes the scarier parts of it so much more intriguing to look into. The beautiful scenery is there to cover up just how dark and sad this place is, trying to cover up all the things wrong with it, while in reality, the darkness and sadness really can be beautiful. Just look at these gorgeous colors down. Even though the music is terrifying, and so are some of the bosses, there's always beauty in the darkness. I feel like a lot of people forget that. Number 7, Dragon Roost Island, Wind Waker. I really enjoy the music in this dungeon. The Rito being here also fills me with joy, considering that they're my favorite species in all the Zelda games. They're just cute little birds. It also has influenced my Animal Crossing island, but this is a Zelda video, not Animal Crossing. The fact that this dungeon is to help the dragon on top and not kill it is why I like it. Yes, you have to kill Goma, but you're also saving a huge dragon and the Rito. I love the Rito. As fun as this dungeon is for a fire temple, I feel like they could have added just a little bit more to it, but it's still fun nonetheless. Number 6, Hyrule Castle, Twilight Princess. This is the only Hyrule Castle in the Zelda franchise that I have enjoyed so much. The music for Hyrule Castle and Twilight Princess fits so well. And I love how it's storming the whole time when you are in this dungeon. This dungeon requires you to use a lot of techniques you have learned, across the game through the other dungeons and other trials you've gone to. Having to switch to wolf form from human, using the ancient spinner to using the claw shot, and of course a bunch of different moves you have learned from the golden wolf to kill these difficult guards. Seriously, why are they so difficult? Am I that bad at combat? Moving on, I really enjoyed seeing a lot of people who have helped out throughout the game come and help you when getting ambushed by a bunch of boblins. It's so nice to see that in a Zelda game just because of how rare it is to see someone helping Link rather than seeing Link help hundreds of other people throughout the series. Number 5, Lightning Temple, Tears of the Kingdom. For having the newest Zelda game on this list may be shocking, but I really enjoyed playing through this dungeon after having the experience with whatever Breath of the Wild did to them. I'm so happy that they brought back a little bit of the older kind of feel of dungeons from past games into Tears of the Kingdom, and I think this dungeon captures it the best out of the other 3. This dungeon has such an awesome design, and I'm a sucker for the Gerudo designs in Zelda games. I find it so visually appealing and satisfying to just look at the Gerudo Desert throughout the Zelda games. The boss fight in this dungeon had at least a little bit of strategy to it, which I also appreciate. I think we can all agree on Breath of the Wild not having much strategy to it, except for Thunderblight Ganon. That was a crime, Nintendo. I died at least 40 times trying to kill it. Please tell me that I wasn't the only one who struggled that much. Of Twilight, Twilight Princess. As much as this dungeon is very much lacking a lot, I really enjoy the design and how eerie it is. There being very little bosses, and this makes it so much scarier. I love how quiet it can be and the puzzles you have to do. Yeah, some of the puzzles are very straightforward, but at least there's some that make you think. I think that the ending boss fight is the best thing in this dungeon. Zant's boss fight was played out so uniquely. But what I find very memorable from this dungeon is, of course, those terrifying hands that float above you when you're trying to bring the souls to the center of the whole dungeon. The Twilight Palace itself is such an interesting place to be, and I wish Nintendo did more with this realm in other Zelda games. But, as we know, the ending of this game shows us that won't be possible. But I'm still hoping for something to happen so we can see Midna again. I miss her so much. Temple of Time, Twilight Princess. I know what you're thinking. This is one of the easiest dungeons in the Twilight Princess. Why is it number 3 on this list? That's an awesome question, and I wish I could answer. I really enjoy this dungeon, though. The way you have to unlock it still makes me upset to this day, but I love how it takes you back to the time of when the Temple of Time was fully restored and asleep. The ending boss fight gives me chills. I hate spiders, but I love how it's a callback to Ocarina of Time with the first boss of that game. The name of that boss was Goma, which is an armored arachnid, while the spider in this temple is called Armagoma. Goma is in the name. I find it so cool, and I'll always love a comeback to an older title in Zelda games. The Dominion Rod you use in this dungeon has always been such an interesting item to me. Again, I have so many questions about why it exists. This game has so many interesting mysteries behind it, and I'm getting off track again. Number 2, Snowpeak Ruins, Twilight Princess. This dungeon is one of the coolest I have ever seen. Even though I hate the ice mechanics in this game, I had to get my dad to do one of the puzzles for me. Shows how dumb I am, or how difficult these puzzles are. I love how it's just two normal Yetis that live up here in this abandoned mansion. Again, so many theories behind this mansion. I really love Zeltic's video on this place. I'll have it linked in the description if you guys are interested in watching that video after this one. Obviously, we all know that they aren't normal Yetis. One of them goes crazy on you. This is still terrifying to me, but it all works out in the end. Number 1, Arbiter's Grounds, Twilight Princess. Of course, this dungeon has to be number 1. I mentioned earlier how much I love the Gerudo designs, and this dungeon has so many mysteries behind it. The way the boss gets revived by Zant is still mind-boggling. I don't know how you can make a skeleton come to life without any organs, but hey, it happens. I love all the mechanics in this dungeon. The fidget spinner, the ancient spinner, dumb name, is so fun to ride around on and go up spirals on. I love how you have to use it in the boss fight in the end, and all the enemies in this dungeon have such unique designs. The Redeads are obviously still terrifying to this day, but I love their design in this game specifically. It really captures how dead they are and how terrifying their scream is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a little bit of a longer one, and I think that's what you guys deserve for me being gone for so long. I'm going to try my best to upload more, but I can't promise anything. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. See ya!